Hello everyone and welcome to this new important lecture. In this lecture, we will give you some information about a very important subject. This subject is called the fissure and pit sealants. So many people use pits and fissures to treat caries and to prevent them from growing and extending in the tooth. But some dentists don't recommend them because they think that pits and fissure sealant are not a good method of treatment. Also, they have a bad experience with previous types of pits and fissure sealants, or they have not studied the effects and the importance of using pits and fissure sealants. Otherwise, pits and fissure sealants are recommended and very important to every young patient as soon as the tooth is erupted, to increase the protection from caries. We have two types of pits and fissure sealants. One is chemical, that is not recommended, and one is using light cure. And the light cure one is more recommended because it does not entrap bubbles that could cause problems in the future. Etching time for pits and fissures is about 30. It is about 60 seconds for permanent teeth before applying the etching material. And for fluoridated teeth, permanent, it is 90 seconds. For primary teeth, the etching time is between 90 and 120 seconds. And this is different from the etching time for using composite and GIC restorations. That time is between 15 seconds for dentine, 30 seconds for enamel. The hydroxyapatite crystals, now we will talk about it because it is also important to know the structure of the tooth. That is containing calcium, phosphate, and hydroxide, also some elements. That element, like magnesium that if increased in the tooth structure element, it will cause increased susceptibility to caries. And there are other elements like tin, other elements. Let me see, one second. Other elements, yes, like potassium, magnesium, and aluminium. Those elements do not affect the tooth, but magnesium affects the tooth in a negative way. And also some elements affect the tooth in a positive way. Something like fluoride, if increased in the tooth structure, it will affect the tooth in a positive way, positive manner. Other structures like tin is also good for the tooth. Tin, if increased in the tooth structure, it will have a positive effect. And there is calcium to phosphate ratio, which is constant, and it is 2.15. This is a constant ratio, 2.15, and any change in that ratio will cause problematic effects. An increase in the zinc, as we have said, an increase in tin, TIN, and an increase in strontium and molybdenum and strontium, zinc are all good increase and will cause positive effects to the hydroxyapatite crystals. Last but not least, talking about the resistance. And what is the resistance? The resistance is, as I said before, it is these elements, when increased and when decreased, they will cause different effects. Zinc, magnesium, bad effect, tin, phosphate, potassium. Potassium does not cause any effect, and a ratio of 2.15 from is a good ratio for calcium phosphate ratio. Thank you for listening to this lecture. It was a good lecture. It wasn't a bad lecture.